corpses. Okay, I'm going to shout out to Michael Garcia. Um, you're having issues with your paper mache molds. I gather that's what you mean. Your molds are made out of paper mache, and you're putting latex over them, and you're having air bubble issues. Well, paper mache, that's a whole nother animal. And I don't think you can use the spray bottle of water. So what I normally do is two things. One, you want to invest in a vibrating table. Now this is sitting up on top of one of these rolling stands, because I usually roll this in the wintertime. I'll roll this into my house and have to vibrate the latex in my house, because in the cold weather, latex does not get along with cold weather. So, okay, I'm going to show you something here. In the center, underneath this platform, it's 2 foot by 2 foot. All right. One thing I've done is I went to Walmart and I bought a cheap, brand new car tire. And I think the car tire was 24 inches round on the outside diameter. Yeah, I think it is 24. Maybe a little bit smaller than that. But this is a 24-inch square piece of plywood, 3/4 inch. And what I do is I bolted the tire to the platform, to the plywood. And on the underneath side, there's a special motor that's designed strictly for vibrating. You know, it's just literally a motor that's out of balance that vibrates like nuts. And the reason why it's important to use the tire is because the tire gives it that spring that makes it vibrate. All right, so you put it on a put the platform on the tire. Then it's now the one thing where I need to add 2 more of these boards. Now these are, I think, like 16 inches, but I tapered them on an angle, and all I did was I screwed them from underneath. I found my center. You see the center line, and that's what I lined my boards up on, and that's what I screwed from the underneath side. I screwed these in onto the Michael. Okay, cool. You're on. Okay, this is a vibrating table, and I think this is going to be your only avenue of being able to actually fix your issue. If you're making paper maches, I don't think you can wet. Now, these molds here, I spray them on the inside with a little bit of water and ammonia. I use a combination of water and ammonia because ammonia is in latex. All right, so I'll do like maybe 20% ammonia and the rest water. And I'll spray the inside of my mold, all right, right before I put the latex in it, because that keeps the mold from bubbling. You got to remember, this is very dry, the mold, and it can stop a lot of the bubbles, not all, but some of the bubbles. What does come out from the face of the mold, bubble-wise, the vibrating table takes care of. The vibrating table is nothing but a tire. It's a 23.5-inch car tire. I bought at Walmart for like $40. Probably cost more than that now because of everything costing so much. But I bought a brand new tire, and you want to use a new tire because you need that the center tread to be pretty firm. All right, 24-inch square, 3/4 inch plywood. In the center, right underneath it here, you'll see there's 4 bolts holding a motor directly in the center of this 2 by 4 platform, or 2 by 2 foot by 2 foot platform. All right. This is a homemade vibrating table. Is basically it. The motor's in the center, bolted to the platform. The tires, the inner side of the tire, the motor's sitting there, and it's just enough clearance to it works. I mean, I don't know how. You know what? I'm going to flip it upside down. The hell with it. enjoy. Let me take my mold out of here. All right, let's do this right. instead of goofing off here. All right, now this is, I'm sorry. This is the motor. Now I have it all plugged in already, so let me show you. All right. I guess it's considered like a dial stat or whatever. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, this controls the motor. All right, this comes with the motor. This thing here. You can get them on Amazon. The motor plugs into this thing, and this controls it. And then when I turn this on, see that shaking? That's on high. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it upside down. I'll show you what this motor looks like so you have an idea. All right. The bolts are, it's bolted to the, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts in the center. Let me turn it up right. It's not that big of a deal, and I can show you what it's like on the inside. That's all it is. That's the motor you want. And that's the cheap tire I bought. Sitting on a 2x4, a 4x4, or not 2x4, 2 foot by 2 foot square. And that's that simple. And that makes you a nice vibrating table. The tire, you know, I didn't invent this. Don't get me wrong. I saw this on YouTube a long time ago. I don't even know if that video is on the YouTube anymore, but I saw it on YouTube and I thought, yeah, man, it'd be great. I can make a vibrating table. And what you do is you center everything. You find your center. You do your cross. It gets the job done. Yeah, I mean, to go out and spend, I mean, you can spend $500-600 on a real good vibrating table and basically get the same results, because that's basically what they do is they put springs on it instead of a tire. The tire does a great job. You just saw that latex bouncing around like you know, it does the job. Now I put it on here to lessen the vibration effect because the vibrating's a little bit too strong. This motor is designed strictly for vibrating. It's an out of sync motor that when it's out of sync, it causes the vibration. So, you know, and I put the power cord just runs right on top of underneath the tire, or, you know, right on top. It doesn't matter because it's going to make it even better, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. That is it. That's simple. It's a simple project. You have to bolt the tire to the platform. You bolt the motor to on the underside of the platform. And right here is where I put my screws. You can see those little lines there. That's where I put my screws for my 2x4s facing outward. But don't do as I do. Make another line going down right through the center of this here from top to bottom, and add, or this way, or you might add, put two more, and then you add 4 more boards, because a wedge needs to be created. Yeah, that's basically it. The 2x4s do get loose every once in a while, so you just flip it upright and you just screw them down. Or I can even go better and get different types of like lag bolts or something and stick the 2x4s in. I'll figure something out to get a better job. Or I'll box it in, you know, that way. See, when you're talking about like plaster, or not plaster, paper mache. Well, you figure, you see what it is. You can see what it is, you know, and I'm telling you the dimensions. This is 2 foot by 2 foot. You know, and you can buy the board already cut. I think they have the 2 foot pieces already cut at Home Depot. You know, so you don't have to buy a whole sheet of plywood. You just got to get the right size tire. Let me see if I can see the tire size on here. My eyesight's terrible. Come on. MS, I don't know what that says, 17.5, 70. Come on. 70R. I don't know what the heck that says. I can't see it. R13, maybe? It's frozen, so you can get a better shot. Take a still picture of the tire size. But it works great, and it was a brand new tire. You know, you don't want to use a used one because you need that wall, that tire tread, to be stiff. You don't want this thing sagging. You don't have a lot of clearance from where the tire hits the deck on the surface here to where the motor is. You know what I mean? So I tried a used tire, and a used tire kind of sunk in too much. The weight of it was, you got to remember when you put the mold on there, it's pretty heavy. So, you know, yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. A lot of people have asked about the vibrating table, and I figured, why not tackle it? So here's a video on the vibrating table, and you could make your own. I think it's going to cost you, the motor, I can't remember what I paid for the motor. It wasn't that much money. It might have been 60, 80 bucks, something like that. A plywood, God knows what that is nowadays. The 2 foot by 2 foot, 3/4 inch plywood. The tire, I remember that was like 40 bucks. It wasn't that expensive. It was brand new. I got it at Walmart. So for like 200 bucks, you can have yourself a nice vibrating table. And believe me, the vibrating table does knock out the bubbles. But paper mache, I've never done paper mache, so I couldn't really help you with the paper mache. I don't know that that's a good idea to. Now, what I might do with the paper mache is put a coat of lacquer or some kind of protective. Here's what I would do with the paper mache. The paper mache, since you're using it as a protectant, you need to waterproof it. All right, so waterproof the paper mache with whatever you want to waterproof it with. All right, and then whether you're using acrylic or possibly, you could use an acrylic, and then possibly you can wet the mold. And that'll also keep the bubbles to a minimum, but not too much. You're only moistening the mold. You're not soaking it. All right, but you want to waterproof your paper mache. I'll bet if you do that, your bubble situation might go away, and I'll tell you why. Because the paper mache still releases air because it's not waterproofed. So maybe that might work for you. But all else fails, get yourself a vibrating table. Anytime you're dealing with latex, there's air bubbles. And thank you, Alan Hops, for letting me know about the water trick by adding water to my molds. I actually asked that same question, Michael. I asked a friend of mine that has his own mask making business, and he told me, the bubble. Foam clay. Then I use paper mache mask. Well, foam clay, very airy. So foam clay can actually still release a lot of, air. You're talking about liquid going over top of an airy substance, and stone's the same way. It's stone's the same way. So the thing you can do is because latex you'll have to slush cast it, which you're going to have to put multiple coats on it. But latex will, if it's stuck to a surface that's releasing air, it will bubble, and that's the issue that we always have. So it's a tough issue sometimes. It can be brutal. So what I do is I wet my molds in the inside a little bit, then I stick it on the vibrating table, and that's all I can do. And I'll still, once in a while, still get an air bubble once in a while, you know, but it's not as bad. It's not nearly as bad. And the other thing you can do is repair that air bubble. The minute you pull the mask and you see any like little pockets of air bubbles, keep yourself a little tiny jar, a little squirt jar, and just like of latex, mask latex, and then fill those little holes in and let it cure completely before you like sand them down. And do a light sanding. You want to do it so light that the because the latex will stick to itself as long as it's not cured completely. So as soon as you demold your latex, that's when you would fill in those little air bubbles. I have I'll show you one right now that I have to fill in. And I didn't do it yet, so this is going to be an experiment on itself because it's been curing, and I may not be able to fix this mask, but I have a mask that has air bubbles, and I'll show it to you. And it's always under the chin area that I always get the problem, because that's like the area that can pocket up. Hold on. Let me see. It's one of these masks here that I had just done. And what I'm going to probably do, hold on, is scratch up underneath the chin real good. Yeah, look at those air bubbles. See all those down underneath that chin? Now, I tore away a lot of this here because there was a little bit of a membrane of latex covering these holes, and I got to fix that. But I'm going to scratch this up real good on the inside of this air bubble, all of them there, and I'm going to fill it with latex. So that's how I'm going to repair that. Now, most of the masks turned out perfect. There's one I patched. See that? I just have to sand it. See this bump out? I just have to patch that. That's it. And doesn't matter if something's sticking out, because that'll just come right off. That was an air hole. That was a little hole in the mask, in the mold. Anytime you got holes in your mold, it's okay to have an innie, as I always say, but it's not good to have an outie. So that's the secret with that. Back outside. Let's go back outside. I've got my guys here. I'm going to be making a display piece to replace my old sculpture. And here's my pumpkin Halloween. This is my display at a a store. I can put this acrylic display up and it shows off the mask. So, oh boy, let's see. Go back outside here. Cutting through the house. Enjoying the weather out here. It's nice and cool. It's beautiful out here. Yeah, I'll be working on these masks. I'm going to be probably starting to finish up these masks and painting them this week. Since I'm off from my job for the summer, every day's Monday to me. So it doesn't matter to me what day I do my work. Ooh, it's hot in Michigan. I'm in South Jersey. Yeah, latex, it'll cure faster. And whatever you do, don't do latex in direct sunlight. I don't know what kind of knowledge you have with working with latex, but latex in direct sunlight, UV light destroys latex. So, and I mean within 3 to 4 hours, if a mask is sitting in the sun for about 3 or 4 hours, it'll turn to goo. It won't be any good. So you better be inside of a well shaded area, or possibly inside of a garage or something when doing. Now, I have a big roof over my head here. Still a lot of light coming in from the sides, but I have a nice enclosed area where there's no direct sunlight whenever I'm doing my molds. So I'm filling my latex molds. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you guys how to make a vibrating table. No, because it's spotty. You really don't want any direct sunlight hitting that latex at all. Even if you have to go out and buy a cheap tent, make sure that it's a blackened out tent. In other words, it's the kind of tent that doesn't cast light through it. Like you don't want a white tent that will allow that light to like kind of just bleed through onto the latex. If you get yourself one of those little tents or whatever, they're not that expensive. Make sure it's blackened out. Even if you have to put a tarp over top of it, to blacken it out. You can get those heavier tarps and kind of stick it on the roof, and that'll stop you from having the light come through. Yeah, you just want to definitely make sure there's absolutely no light hitting your latex at all. But yeah, I'm going to be starting my mask painting in the next couple of days. I was going to do it today, but it was threatening. It even threatening to rain right now, and I like to be out here on the deck when I'm painting. I like to paint out here. I don't like to even airbrush. I'll airbrush out here as well. Yeah, just be on the safe side. Latex and sunlight do not get along at all. You can look that up, and I'm sure there's many mask makers out there that'll tell you the same thing. They say if the latex is in direct sunlight for let's just say you leave your mask outside in direct sunlight for 3 hours. 3 to 4 hours, that mask will start to get real gummy, and it'll start breaking down. It breaks down the latex really fast. So it's like it's like a speed bump. It's so weird. That's the wrong analogy. What takes 25 years to break down a mask will happen in hours if you leave it in direct sunlight. So that's basically it, guys. I'm just going to show you this, how to make this vibrating table. You see how cheap it is and see how effective it is. It works really good. And Amazon, you can get the motor, you can get the tire. Just look for vibrating motor on Amazon, and that's probably what you'll see. It's one of those orange ones with the caps on either end. I think they're there's spinning mechanism inside of there, and their counter out of balance. That's what makes it vibrate. So that's how they're made, and they're designed just for this. They're designed for vibrating tables. So you can get that on Amazon. I can't remember the price. The tires, $40, might be $50 now. Who knows what they charge for this tire? With everything going up, I don't know. Yeah, plywood. I don't think that was that much because it was a 2 by foot square. So 3/4 inch. Definitely want 3/4 inch though, because you want it to be strong. It's got to withstand the weight. And you center your tire, of course, onto the 2 by 4, or onto the 2 foot by 2 foot plank. And it's almost perfectly. The tire itself is about 2 foot in diameter, a little less. It said 35.5, so that's probably, yeah. I don't know, but that's the update. And this is a video for Michael Garcia. He asked about the vibrating table, and you know, I'm just not a fan of even taking a chance of putting the latex in UV light. I wouldn't do it if I were you. You don't want to be in direct sunlight with your latex at all. You know, it's a shame you don't have an indoor shop or something. Even if you're like, if you have a studio set up in your house or something where you can do your latexing. It's just messy. It can be really messy. I know that. So, but anyway, I was thinking about lighting this guy up tonight. This guy over here, my Grim Reaper. Bring out my black light and maybe light him up a little later on once the sun goes down completely. A little darker out here than what the camera's showing. It's pretty dark. Gray overcast though. So. Yeah, latex is finicky stuff. It comes from a rubber tree. You know, it comes from plant base. Latex is not, it's not synthetic, and that's why latex doesn't last forever. No matter how much we take care of it, no matter what we do, the most you'll get a latex, and that's if it's a fairly thick copy. The most you'll get years-wise is about 25 to 30 years, and then the latex will start breaking down. They all do it. Doesn't matter. The key is having the molds, and if you're young, it might make a difference to you then. But I'm 60 years old. When I doubt I'll be making any replacement mask anytime soon. I think I'll be doing this mask business maybe 5 or 6 years, and then I'm going to completely retire from everything. So, but I really love it because I love the sculpting end of it. I can sit there for months on a sculpture, and that's what I do. So, all right, guys. You guys have a wonderful night. I was going to go on and start working on my sculpture tonight. Maybe I will. You know what? Drawing, Mike, drawing to me is a stepping stone. I don't know. There's something about making the masks, making something out of your work. You know, it's like anybody. A lot of people can paint. A lot of people can do. You know, can paint and draw. A lot of people can do that, you know, and of course we know some are unbelievable compared to others. But when you're making things with, you know, from the ground up, when you come up, now I don't necessarily draw out what I'm going to I don't design by drawing. I like to I just run with whatever's in my head. I run with it, I sculpt it, create it, and then from there, like even my mask, my Michael Myers mask, yes, I looked at pictures to try and get the accuracy right and everything, but my Michael Myers mask is called the Night Creeper 78, and it's my envision of what I think a true Michael Myers should look like. And that's just it, you know. There is, like, you know, some things that I made sure that I was accurate on, as far as how the lip dipped down a little bit in the corner, and you know, there's just different little things. The eye cuts had to be perfect. You know, the scowl. I wanted that to look more realistic and human-like. On the forehead where the scowl is, right above where the scowl comes down onto the bridge of the nose. It's got that natural sag as a real human would. You know, the age factor as we get older, and how we got our wrinkles. Yeah, so if you're going to make masks, I think especially study human anatomy. It really does help. Human anatomy, if you study that and you always factor in aging and what aging really is, it's loose skin. I'll tell you what aging is. You ready? Simple, because I know I'm an old guy. Loose skin and gravity. They don't like each other. So everything is more of a sag, not a carve out. So if you take like your clay and you make your ball, and that's what I did. I put it up around the eye, where the eye area is, right where the bridge of nose comes in, and I put clay up there, and then kind of smoothed it in and rounded it out, and it looked like natural skin hanging on the brow. So it's just they're little things like when you start making zombie masks, and the flesh is loose and it's hanging. The wrinkles are created from the loose flesh. So all those little textures. Human anatomy is everything, and always account for gravity and age. Anything else we could talk about? I took a late nap today, man. I'm going to be up half the night. Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. I want my own spin on Michael Myers. I don't want somebody, I'm not trying to replicate anybody's mask. As a matter of fact, Nick Mulpagano, who I follow quite often, I've actually ordered his videos on how to and all that stuff. And he did a 13 mask, and he saw the similarities of my mask, what I was in production with, because I was doing the YouTube channel. And he reached out to me and he says, "Yo, man, I'm making this 13 mask. And we look an awful lot alike, but I was still in the process. And I was like, well, I don't want to make anything that's already been done. So he sent me some pictures of his mask before it was in production. That was nice of him. I didn't share them as he asked, and waited until he put that mask out there. Yeah, I love Nick. He's a great guy. He really is. He does help people out. I mean, some secrets you have to keep in this business. I only share the stuff that I figure out on my own. I try to figure out things on my own, and then those things I'll share. But if somebody gives me information and they tell me, look, I really don't want that shared, okay, I won't share it. I'm just thankful that they shared it with me. But anyway, I try to keep it real, because it's not easy coming up with all these different schemes on how to do things. And there's I finally figured out the hair on the screen used mask, but I got to keep that a secret because somebody showed me, basically gave me the mix. The first time you use latex, was making burlap mask. I'll tell you, I love the burlap mask. Oh man, don't get me started. Scarecrows are my favorite thing. Uh, like, I love scarecrow mask, and actually, once I'm done with the Michael Myers, I plan on designing some of my own scarecrow masks using burlap and latex, and I might even go silicone. I might do silicone with the with instead of latex. You can really do like on the fly. That's what's so cool about doing the the look of the burlap and latex combo. You can just just be creative, like while you're working on it, not so much come up with a scheme. I mean, I always try to come up with a kind of what I want to try and create, but I like those little accidents. As what's his name say? Happy accidents. Bob Ross, yeah, happy accidents. You know what I mean? They're fun. You know, like I love those happy accidents. You know, because you can create some wild things, and sometimes on by accident. You know, I just think there's more creativity making those latex. You know, um, free. I want to call it freestyle masking. Yeah, that's how else can we call it? Freestyle mask making. Freestyle mask making. No molds. No nothing. Well, I actually use an armature. I make my own armature whenever I can. And I'll do the shoulders, the neck area. Um, make a really cool mask. Mike, I'm going to go to your channel. I want to check out your stuff. Do you have your channel with a lot of your mask on it? Yeah, I would love to see your stuff. Yeah, it sounds like we like a lot of the same things as far as how we go approach it. Although I've never done the paper mache. That might be something for later on. I don't know though. I have a funny feeling I'm going to get clobbered with this new mask. The new mask that I made I think, is going to be a demand. I hope. I don't know. I mean, I keep being told that. Uh, you need to put together a YouTube channel and put your products out there, man, and show people what you're doing. How to. You learn something from somebody else. I could care less if you showed this. Like if you learn this and you pass the message, because we're all talking to different people. So, you know, I always shout out to the guys that share knowledge with me, like Nick Malpagano, Alan Hops at Stilt B Studios. I always plug them because they were nice enough to share the knowledge with me. I've only been in the mask business for 2 years. 2 years, that's it, man. I mean, I've been an artist all my life. Don't get me wrong. I've been a sculptor, not in clay though. I've never worked with clay. I've been a what they call a relief carving artist, and I did most of my work in wood. I Why I think I love clay 10,000 times better is because you make a mistake, you just take away some clay and add some more clay. Wood, you take away from wood, there is no replacing the wood. You make a mistake and you're done. You got to start over. And some of those projects took, up to 2 years to sculpt a 5-tier, 6-tier depth relief carving. And, it's a lot of money. People don't realize, like I had to do a door the size of just a regular door, front door. And they wanted a picture carved in, but they wanted the whole door completely carved and decorated and everything, hand carved. And it was a 5-tier carving that took almost 18 months to do. And, I had to charge almost $10,000 for that door. That door was not cheap, and I didn't work on it every day, 8 hours a day. I worked on it 3-4 hours a day, maybe 3 or 4 days of the week, but about 3 days of the week. It was in my spare time, but it took 18 months to carve out. And who's got $10,000 to blow on a front door? Not me. But some people do. They want what they want. And I did it, and it turned out beautiful. They loved it. I used to do sceneries of their own ranches into cabinets, cabinetry. And it would look like you were looking out of a wraparound window of your entire. I think I did it was somewhere out in Arkansas. There's a bizarre story behind it. The person that bought that from me, and I did that whole scenery for maybe 25,000. It was like $30,000. I did that whole scenery in those cabinets to make it look like a panoramic vision of their their ranch, as though they were looking through a window and seeing their ranch outside, and they can see it replicated where you were standing inside. If you could see through the walls, you would see exactly what was outside. That's what we did with the ranch. That was really cool. It turned out really amazing. But, it took forever. It took forever. And there's no money in something that takes that long. It takes too long. And there's not enough people. There's not enough people to make that kind of money. Masks, I'm a horror fanatic anyway. I'm not just a fan, I'm a fanatic with horror. So doing masks, that was second nature to me. That would be great. It's just learning the process of how to make masks. Honestly, though, Michael, look into getting yourself some Ultra Cal 30 and make plaster molds of your work. I just think if you learn that process, it'll help you a lot more. Paper mache. All right, you too, buddy. Paper mache could be a little, I don't know. There's just, I don't know. I can't knock it because I've never tried it. You got it, Mike. Have a good night. I'm gonna jump off of here too for everybody that might check this video out. This was only strictly to show how I made the vibrating table. And you pretty much can see what I did. I bolted a tire to the 2 foot by 2 foot plywood, and there's a vibrating motor centered in the very center of that. And what makes it wobble a lot is the tire itself. It bounces, it makes it bounce. So that's it. All right, guys, peace. I'll see you on the next video. Hopefully we start painting. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start painting my masks. All right, so have a great day, guys. Peace. Remember, hit the like, subscribe, share the content for me, all right? Thank you. I'll see you.